Time is moving on. We started the clock and everything around came alive. Winter is coming soon, but the squirrel hasn't prepared any provisions. She doesn't know how much food she needs. Let's ask numbers to help. They always help when we need to count something. There's one berry on the strawberry bush. There are many berries on the blueberry bush. Tap the bush with many berries. Tap the bush with one berry. Like this. Tap the bush with many berries. Tap the bush with one berry. You've picked all the necessary berries. Take a nut for the squirrel. There are a few walnuts. There are many hazelnuts. Tap on the bush that has more nuts. Tap on the bush that has less nuts. Done! Tap on the bush that has more nuts. Tap on the bush that has less nuts. You've picked a lot of nuts. You've earned a nut for the squirrel. There are many red apples. There are few green apples. Click on the tree that has more fruit. Tap on the tree that has less fruit. Like this. Click on the tree that has more fruit. Tap on the tree that has less fruit. Take a nut for the squirrel. This mushroom is high. This mushroom is low. Tap the high mushroom. Tap the low mushroom. Beautiful. Tap the high mushroom. Tap the low mushroom. You picked all the mushrooms you need. You've earned a nut for the squirrel. The squirrel needs to make raspberry jam for the winter. Let's move the raspberries from the basket into the jar. Count the berries. 1. Now you should move as many berries as numbers will show you. 1. 2. Done! 1. 2. 3. Good job! 1. 2. 3. 4. Like this. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. You've earned a nut for the squirrel. Help the squirrel with cooking. Drag the ingredients to chop them. You're doing great. Cool. Done. You've earned a nut for the squirrel. The squirrel also needs to stockpile cones and nuts. The nut path is a long one. The cone path is a short one. Tap the long path. Good job! Tap the short path. Keep it up. Tap the long path. You're doing great. Tap the long path. Done! Now it's time to go home. Let's choose a shorter way to get there quicker. Cool! Take a nut for the squirrel. Here are the nuts which the squirrel has picked in the woods. Let's move them to the table. Drag the nuts onto the table one by one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's peel some nuts. Tap the nuts one by one after each number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well done! You peeled all the nuts. Now let's move the peeled nuts into a bowl. Drag them one by one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You've earned a nut for the squirrel. A chipmunk visited the squirrel and she wants to treat him with nuts. Let's count the nuts. The chipmunk has 1 nut and the squirrel has 0 nuts. So we need to put 1 nut on the squirrel's plate so they'll have equal amounts of nuts. That's it. Now the number of nuts is equal. The chipmunk has 2 nuts. The squirrel has 3 nuts. Put a nut from the bowl like this. The chipmunk has 4 nuts. The squirrel has 3 nuts. Put a nut from the bowl to the animal. You're doing great. The chipmunk has 2 nuts. The squirrel has 3 nuts. Like this. The squirrel has 5 nuts. The chipmunk has 4 nuts. You're doing great. Take a nut for the squirrel. Let's feed the squirrel. Drag the nuts to the squirrel one by one. 1.
Uh-oh.
2, 3, 4. Keep it up. 1, 2, 3. Done! One. Beautiful. 1, 2. Keep it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're doing great. You've earned a nut for the squirrel.